Welcome to episode 123 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I am your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my co-host, Warren Sklar, is here. How you doing, Warren?
I'm doing well. Sunday, we're recording a little bit late, which is nice. It's quiet. The house is quiet. My son's downstairs. My wife's getting her hair done, so I get the kitchen again. So it's perfect.
I saw you were in the kitchen.
Yeah, so it's nice.
I was a little under the weather the last few days, but then I got back in the weather, so I'd say, we can't miss an episode here for you guys. So we definitely wanted
a lot of stuff going on too.
Get back up, and there's so much going on. I think I can't not be a whole week. I'll be catching up like crazy here. So, but we got news. We got the beta. There's been some real interesting stuff going on with that. That's coming up here in a bit. And then Apple One bundle got released. We'll have plenty to talk about with that and plenty of other things here. So, with that, let's just go right in. We'll not waste any time here. So, first story was actually, this is a link to the Apple newsroom. Clips got its biggest update ever. Apple's video creation app for the iPhone and iPad. They refreshed it. It's got vertical and horizontal video, about time, and HDR recording with the iPhone 12. And I've used Clips a couple times. I thought it was okay, nothing crazy, but it seems to be popular with a lot of the younger folks out there. But have you used Clips much at all?
No, and actually I haven't even opened it up since I did the update, so I should probably check it out. I did when it first came out, and it looked fine. It looked good, but it's just not. I'm not an Instagrammer or influencer of any type, so it's not for me.
Nor am I. But it's a cool app, and it's definitely something to check out. You can download it. It's on the App Store, ready to go here. So, next story. This was on Mac Rumors. The iPhone 12 lineup enables personal hotspot over the faster 5G. This was noted by a couple folks here that the iPhone 12 lineup supports personal hotspot tethering over faster 5G Wi-Fi compared to the 2.4 gigahertz on previous iPhones. So the combination of the iPhone 12 model supporting higher speed 5Gs and the 5G Wi-Fi gives it maximum throughput, paves the way for faster personal hotspot, which is excellent and exciting. I think we were talking about this over on Mac to the Future a little bit too. Of course, you got to have 5G in the area to be able to use it. But what do you think of this?
Yeah, this is a kind of a feature that one of the maybe only, I wouldn't say only, but 90% of the reason I'm excited about 5G is for the tethering. Yeah. Because, you could use that speed much more on a laptop than you can on a phone, I think, for a lot of things. Right now, at this time of history, there's more you could do on a laptop using the good connection. That might change coming down the line as they start making more things available for 5G phones. But it's great, if it's a good signal. Who wouldn't love to have at least a 200 megabit connection minimum, out there to hotspot too. Absolutely.
So be ready for that when you get your iPhone 12s. If those who don't have them yet, like us. Next story. This was on the Mac Observer, actually. This is about the iPad Air making the Pro obsolete. There's been a lot of discussion. We're going to talk about the iPad Air comparison now that the Air is out in a little bit here. The reviews have been popping up. A lot of very positive reviews from most people. They're saying the inclusion of the A14 Bionic processor means that you can get the company's latest chip, but in some respects, even better than what the current iPad Pro has. And big bump in power. Battery life is probably the user standard. You got the faster 20-watt charger. But the only thing is you don't have the LiDAR support. Okay, I don't take pictures of my iPad. At least I try not to. I look like one of those dorks holding up your iPads taking pictures. So, what'd you think on this?
Yeah, when they showed it off at the Time Flies event, I said, yeah, this is pretty much an iPad Pro from 2018 at least. It is a 2018 iPad Pro without Face ID and with the touch sensor, right. I think. For the most part, it's the same thing. It's got even a faster processor, which I'm sure I wouldn't even notice, to be honest with you. But yeah, as of right now, if it's a choice, if I didn't have a Pro and I wanted a Pro, I would get the Air. But then I wouldn't be sure because I know they're going to do something with the Pro. So then, you know, it is kind of a risk right now. If you're looking for like, if I knew that they weren't going to do anything else with the Pro and just keep it the way they're going, I would get the Air. But you know, Apple's going to do something with the Pro that we haven't even thought about yet. But it's a good deal. I haven't seen it yet. I would love to see it.
Yeah, no, yeah. Unfortunately, you can't get into those stores to actually put your hands on it. So
I was in one yesterday. I didn't even think to look, but you go in there and you have an escort, so you can't really Yeah, it's different.
Yep, you can't roam around like we used to be able to. Nope. So, and then Microsoft now rolled out the full Office suite to the iPad that will now support the trackpad and for both Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. They made good on that promise. They finally rolled out trackpad support to its Office apps. That it said support for that is now going to arrive in the fall. Well, it's here, and you can download the apps and supports the iPad OS cursor. All ready to go with Apple's Magic Keyboard and any other trackpad you may use. Yeah, finally, like all I could say.
Yeah, I haven't. I did the update. I just haven't opened it up yet, so I'm sure it's nice.
Yeah, that's going to make it makes the iPad even more and more a potential full-time device. So it's definitely be interesting here. So next article, last one of the news this week. This is on T-Mo News. T-Mobile activates mid-band 5G in nearly 200 new cities and towns. 1 month after T-Mobile launched the mid-band 2.5 gigahertz 5G in more than 120 cities, it's expanding its 5G coverage again. T-Mobile today activated in over 200 additional cities and towns, and looked through some of the cities. I started looking in where I live, and was like, oh, my town's on here. So they really expanded this, and I don't know where you are, if it's they did much in your area, but it's looking like they've really done quite an expansion on this. So this is going to really improve the 5G coverage. It makes me more and more excited to get the 12 Pro Max with having this. What you think?
So it's not in my area yet. But so I'm trying to figure. But this whole thing confused me. So is this like a third band that nobody ever talked about? Because there was the original 5G, which is there's the ultra wide band, which is the one I knew about, which was the one that was slightly faster than LTE and widely available everywhere. And then there's the millimeter band, which is the one that's really fast.
Right.
So this is a third one that nobody was ever talking about.
Yeah, they talked about this a while back. It's like they're calling it the mid-band 2.5 gigahertz 5G. So it's a second mid-band that actually will travel farther than any of the two that has already been talked about. Because some of those are just insanely hard to get to until they start adding more towers. But yeah, I believe this is another band, but it's still going to utilize the 5G coverage.
But it's a separate, so I mean, if I get 5G here, so I'm getting the just regular, the regular 5G, the signal 5G signal here, and that's the one that that they claim that covers everything, which is the speed is slightly better than LTE, which it is.
Right.
And then, of course, there's the one in Giant Stadium, which was crazy. But this is when this article came out, that was the first time I ever even heard there was a third.
Yeah, I mean, I knew T-Mobile had been buying up a lot of spectrum. So this must have been an additional spectrum they were able to camp onto to the 5G to give more coverage. But like I said, I looked through in my area. It's actually in my town, so
it's supposed to give you.
I kind of have a feeling I know where the tower is because I see there's an enormous tower not too far from here.
And that's great.
I wouldn't be surprised
and it gives you.
I would not be surprised that's
somewhere in between LTE and millimeter speed. Right. I'd be happy with that. I'd be very happy with that.
Yeah, we'll see. Because unfortunately, I don't have fiber's not installed in my neighborhood at all, so I can't get fiber, internet. So I have to have Comcast. So, and then they don't want to, of course, AT&T doesn't want to invest into any of the infrastructure now these days. So, we'll probably never see it. So, but Comcast has been okay for me as far as internet goes. But they all suck. Let's face it. But
Fios is good. I mean, I have Fios, and it's good. It's gonna.
I mean, they have their issues, and they work, but they have their issues.
Yep.
Too.
Yep.
So,
all
right. That's the news for this week. Let's move on to beta, and beta was a little interesting this week. 14.2 was originally a golden master, and then all of a sudden, Apple renames it a release candidate, and it's signifying that a public-facing release is probably not too far behind. I venture to say. So they did add a lot of new features in this version of the beta. But first off, let's address the big pain in the butt was the fact that everybody kept getting that pop-up. I'm sure, including you and me on my beta, my device. It was like you got to update, and you can't. There's nothing to update.
Yeah. And I wasn't even. I was getting that before it started becoming. The last few days where it got crazy. I got it a few times here and there before that. And so then everybody started getting it. It was every time you locked your phone. By the way, in case it was hard to figure out when it was, every time you unlocked your phone is when it came up. So so 14 so 2 days later they put the GM or whatever it is out, and
now it's called RC.
Release candidate.
Apparently, Apple's changing it for near final versions of its software, calling it release candidate.
Release candidate one, yeah. Right.
So that's what they're referring to now. So it did fix that annoying bug. Yep. They do have some new wallpapers. We have a link in the show notes to the 9 to 5 Mac article, as well as they have a video on there. And there's some pretty awesome backgrounds, actually real life pictures, and not the the Illustrator type backgrounds like they usually put. So which is kind of cool. And they had hundreds of new emoji characters because of how important emojis are, and I won't even go into how many different ones there are there. It does fix an HDR video thumbnail that's exported from Final Cut Pro. They redesigned the Apple AirPlay to interface. I saw that, and it is redesigned. It looks a lot more cleaner, easier to access AirPlay to. And then also it updated the playing controls in the lock screen, as well as they redesigned AirPlay 2 in the control center. The control center's buttons are right there, which is cool. You also have new animations to see if other AirPlay 2 devices are active on your network. So it'll animate showing you, like in my case, I got some HomePods and my Sonos Move and any of my Apple TVs that I can connect to through AirPlay. And then they also, it was another important thing is they did redesign the Apple Watch icon. So now it shows the mesh band, which you just got. We'll talk in a sec about that. And as well as the AirPlay popover they added. Now Shazam is now built into with a control center toggle, so it doesn't make it obvious you're using Shazam to check something. You can slide it down and go right to the control center. It does reduce loud sounds is now renamed headphone safety in the settings, so that's important. We don't want it to be termed properly, right? If you're an Apple Card user, you now have a yearly activity tab in the Wallet app. And asking Siri to stop playing music on the HomePod is now available, which I guess it wasn't before. I remember correctly, it was not. It was kind of a pain to get it to stop. And then, of course, the Home app now adds the intercom support, which we knew was coming when we talked about that when the betas were out. So a lot of good stuff looks like that they really updated. Have you utilized any of this stuff yet? I mean, I know you played around with the intercom with your son last week. We did that.
Yeah, I was able to intercom from the phone, but I couldn't intercom from the HomePod to the phone. I want to see what that feels and sounds like. And I haven't been able to do that yet because my family's not on that version. Right. So when they get the final release of 14.2, I'm definitely going to play around with that. And I want to see what it does. Yeah. My son has CarPlay. I have to know how that works in CarPlay because it's just like, it has to. Somebody said it. You get a notification that somebody's trying to intercom with you first, which is probably the right thing, so they don't scare you. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. Obviously, it's the intercom, but everything else is. Shazam doesn't excite me. Emojis doesn't excite me. Things like that.
I think most don't. So, but yeah, and then you trailed out to the Apple Store. You in this COVID world and made it to the store, and you found the new mesh, the all-in-one Apple Watch band.
Yeah. So when they were shown at the Time Flies event, it was the only thing that I was interested in, and it's the braided mesh one, not the
braided mesh.
It's I like green. I love green as my colors, and the green one looked great. So, I cut out the paper thing and tried to measure my wrist, and that didn't work well. And then I was scared to do it. And then every time you go online to try to order online, it ships in December, and I'm like, it's never going to happen. So my wife and I were at the mall yesterday, and while we were eating lunch, I knew we were going to split up while we were eating lunch. I wanted to see if I could make a reservation to shop, and I had a slot. So this is all accidental. And so I put it in there. I came in there and I told him what I wanted. He's like, before we check inventory, let's measure you. But it's an interesting story because it's the experience of this is so weird. You go in there, and first they do have a better sizing kit, which is it comes in like a Band-Aid type package. It's a big wrist thing that's like opening like a Band-Aid. It has a sticky end that you put the sticky end where you could put the watch on, and then you fold the rest around your wrist how you're going to wear it. And it told me that I was a 9. So I said, what bands do you have? And, and I'm like, I like the green stretchy braided one. And he went through the thing. He's like, funny enough, that's the only one we have. I'm like, perfect. So he came out with the 9, and I tried it on, and it was too big. It was too loose. So I'm like, this is why I try it on. So I went with an 8. They had the 8, and I'm like, score. Everything went right. The band's great. I love it. It's a little more army-ish than army green than like a forest green. It's a little lighter than I thought it would be, but it still looks good. It's very comfortable. The material is woven. I thought it'd be more rubbery, but it looks good. It feels good.
Yeah, no, it looks good. I'm just worried with my I have such big wrists. I just stuck with the wraparound mesh band. I have had those for years, and I have like 3 others that I can switch to anytime.
I have those too.
I'd be happy with those.
This is a different. It's completely different than those, so it doesn't look anything like it. It's
right. It doesn't look like it because it's all one piece and it's nice.
Yeah, it's a different pattern, and the other ones are more like the you're talking with the Velcro, right? That does a Velcro on the back.
Right.
Yeah, I have a few of those too, but yeah, it's nice. People I posted on the Mac to the Future page, and people correctly are saying there's they're starting to get the knockoffs on Amazon and things, and I've looked at them, and
they're garbage.
They're not going to be as good. They might be okay, but their sizing guide is even more confusing than Apple's, so whatever. I'm happy with my decision and purchase. So
and that band's $99,
yeah,
right? Is that the cost
$99?
Of that?
Yep. And then they have the one size is the other Sport Loop, which is $49. So
right,
but that one doesn't appeal. See,
now the Sport Loop is that one piece as well?
That one's the one piece. That's a new Sport Loop band.
Oh, that's right. Not the mesh, the Sport Loop.
Right. So, with that, that looks just like the other Sport Loop. So to me, there's what's the reason? Like I rather have the adjustable sport band than the non-adjustable one. Whereas this band, they don't have an equivalent of this type of band for that's adjustable. So it's at least different. So yeah, added to the collection of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But then you gotta start getting rid of stuff too. That's what we're all doing.
Yeah, I'm purging. I just sold an iPad Mini and a Surface Go 2. on Facebook because the Surface, I keep getting pulled into these Surfaces. They look great and they work great. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, when I have Boot Camp on my Mac, I never use it if I need Windows. So it's cute.
Makes no sense.
Yeah. And then the iPad Mini, I have the Pro, so I don't need the Mini anymore. And I never use it. Just put some money. I'm pocketing some money for the release of the Silicon Mac at some point. So that's the plan.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's the plan.
And then your son got the iPhone 12. Interestingly enough, he didn't go with the Pro. What prompted him to do that?
So we, he was talking about getting a new phone. He had a 10R, which he's had for a while, and it's a hard sell with my wife because, she doesn't understand why, men need new phones. And so I
right.
I took the side of my son for a while. And so he asked about it again and we started looking, and T-Mobile will give him $415 for his 10R.
Really?
So they had a thing where you get an extra, if you traded in a little extra. So that's what's going to help. And then he's like, yeah, I want to do it. And then we talked, he's like, I want the 12 Pro. I'm like, well, why do you want the 12 Pro? And he's like, it's faster, right? I'm like, no, it's not. So, the camera thing is not, the camera's not that important to him. Certainly the LiDAR is not important to him. And that's it, right? Everything else is the same, I think, as far as I know. So he ended up getting a 64 gig black one that came for the $800, and he got $450 off. So yeah, 400, not even $400 he could do that. So he's gonna pay for it over time. And T-Mobile,
I would say they do it over credits. Like,
T-Mobile's can do like a credit thing where they
24 monthly credits.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you pay off the phone early, they'll just finish that, right? Is that the case? I have no idea.
I don't know. That's they obviously do that purposely because they don't want someone to just
pay it off,
get the phone and take the credit, and then they can walk away. Because
But you can. I've done that.
Entice.
Yeah. So I set it up for him.
Yeah, they can't stop you. They can't stop you from paying it off. I wouldn't think.
No, well, but they can hold the monthly credits. I guess that's coming back to you.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So I don't know, but no plans to leave T-Mobile anyways right now.
Nah, me either.
So, anyways, I set it up. It's gorgeous. It's nice. I mean, for him, he's coming from a 10R, which is completely different.
Which I have as my test phone. Yeah.
So the screen itself is a big upgrade for him because he had the LCD screen before, and now he has an OLED, and the speed is a lot better. He's happy. So it just makes me more excited for my impending 12 Max Pro purchase.
Yeah, we're November 6th. I always record this 5 days away. We're going to be sitting right on the Apple Store app. We're ready to. Want to get it pre-approved beforehand. I think you have to do it like within 2 days before if you're in the trade-in plan. But who knows? I mean, that sounds like a good deal with the 10R. I mean, I was tempted to maybe just get as a spare as since I have the 10R, it's still worth money. Get the iPhone 12 mini maybe. Yeah,
look into T-Mobile thing. I mean, you have to go through T-Mobile, not Apple. But
yeah, I got a line. I have a spare line I could do it on. So and it wouldn't be a bad deal.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. It's a lot less messy than my iPhone Pro Max, the 11 that I'm trying to sell. That's a mess. It's still a mess. I'm still a mess. There's a buyer possibly, but he's not very quick to respond on Messenger. And I just asked him the other day, and I haven't heard back. So if I'm stuck with an extra 11 Max Pro, then so be it. I'm sure I could pawn it off somehow. Yeah, somebody will take it for price.
You could find one of those on those sites that sell it for a pretty good price. You might have to take a little hit.
But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, put the package of all the cases you have.
Yeah. I think that the cases are worth more than the phone at this point.
Probably. So, Well, it's good. Good. Yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that next week with the pre-order, and then shows are coming up, and I'll be ready to get my 12 Pro Max, and we'll both be giving our reviews of it. So can't wait to get my hands on it. It's going to be a lot of fun here. So. And another thing Apple announced this week is they opened the bundles finally. Apple One bundles is now live. They released this on it was October 30th, and it was a very easy process, which I was very impressed with. And of course, what you had to do basically was go into the App Store and tap your profile picture on the upper right corner, tap subscriptions, look for the banner that promoted Apple One. Now, interesting, it did choose the plan they thought you would prefer because of what services you had. And I'm sure for you right away, it chose Premiere for you, right? Because you have all the services other than
I actually didn't notice if it did. I didn't. Okay. I didn't notice, but
yeah, it did.
That's the one I picked.
Yeah, it did because it. Yeah, we'll dive in here, and then in as far as what's available. And you just look for whatever it's promoting Apple One, and then you choose you choose which one you want. You also can go to one.apple.com in Safari on your iPhone or iPad. It'll bring you there as well if you want to do the update. Now the plans, we've talked about this before, but it's always good to get a refresher on where the plans start. You start with the individual plan at $14.95 a month. So you're saving about $6 a month, and that includes music, TV Plus, arcade, and iCloud, the 50 gig storage. Good for someone individual, just for themselves. Don't have a family, somebody that's not looking for much. So then I'll go through all the plans, and then we'll just kind of the pros and cons with the rest of them. The next one up is the family plan. That's $19.95 a month. You're saving about $8, and you also can share it with 5 other people. That includes music, TV Plus, arcade, and then you get 200 gigs worth of iCloud space on the family. And then the big boy, the Premiere, which I think is the best deal, and we both have it. It's the $29.95 a month. You're saving about $25 a month, and you can also get to share it with 5 other people. But that also adds 2 terabytes of iCloud, plus it adds News Plus, and then it adds Fitness Plus, which actually hasn't come out as of yet. It's still pending. So when you go through and examine these three plans, what's best for you? You know, what services are important to you, and you factor that in, deciding, okay, is it worth it to have these extra services? Yeah, you might like them. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, I think, you know, I'm not a big arcade fan. I don't play much arcade. I wouldn't care too much about that one, but the rest of them I use all the time. So,
right.
What do you think?
So, I mean, Apple is smart, and they kind of made it. I think what they did is they made it close to what you're paying for most of the services, and to compete with. I think they were competing with themselves on that. So their goal was to make the bundle worth it to you, even if you're not interested in all the services, because it wouldn't be that much different than what you're paying for the current services. And like you, I was excited for the arcade, to have the arcade, because that's one thing I didn't have. I had everything else. And then I went back, went to the App Store. I'm like, there's nothing here I want. So,
the arcade. Yeah.
I mean, there might be some good games, but I haven't found them. The one thing I wasn't getting was a 2 terabyte plan, and that's the big one. I was getting the 200 gigabyte before that, and I was hovering around 180 gig on the family, and I knew eventually it was going to get over 200, and I had to do something. So that made the decision easier with that. So now I have 2 terabytes, which I'm happy about. The Apple TV, everybody's asking a question that nobody has the answer to, is we were all getting it for free anyways, but now we're kind of paying for it in a bundle, I guess. But it doesn't really change. It didn't change the price, or it did actually. So
I mean, yeah.
So it's a better deal when the Apple TV trial or free thing ended, but it's not a better deal with the free Apple TV. And we're talking like a couple dollars. Like we're talking like $2 one way or $2 the other way. So I mean, it's just easier just to have one bill for the extra $2 until the trial would have ran out anyways. So, Apple TV is still has some good things that I would watch.
It's Ted Lasso for one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I saw that.
I forgot to mention the news. Ted Lasso is already going to be extended for a third season. They haven't come out with a second season yet. So that's how hot that show is. So.
It's hot. I don't want them to ruin it. That's the thing.
Yeah, me either. It's going to get too big.
It's going to get eventually it's could it use another? It could use one more season, I guess. You could get more things out of that. But I love the show. I mean, I'll definitely watch that.
Yeah. Got my family hooked on it. They watched it and they said, "Oh my god, what a great show!"
Yeah,
they're not into Apple TV Plus much, so that
my family won't. My family won't do it.
You gotta watch it.
Yeah, I keep saying you gotta watch it. And nobody listens. They'll regret it.
That's crazy, but to each his own.
Exactly.
So, and then the other thing too is at the 2 terabyte plan, that's always been the max that you could ever get with your plan. But they finally added an option. So you could, if you wanted to, add an additional 2 gigs of storage, 2 terabytes of storage, putting you at 4 terabytes of storage. You pay an additional $9.99 a month for that. And that's what they kind of charged as the cost of what the 2 terabyte plan was already before the bundle. But now what you can do is you can increase your storage double to 4 terabytes. I don't know about you, but I don't know if I'd be using 4 terabytes of storage on my iCloud. But it's a nice option.
There's probably 1 or 2 people out there that would, so why not? I mean, it's a lot of storage. I would hate to have to do a restore from that, but there you go.
Yeah. Exactly. So I mean, even the 2 terabytes, I probably will maybe use a quarter, not even a quarter of it. I mean, if I had 500 gigs, I'd be lucky with photos and everything for my family. It was just basically my wife and I. So
yeah, I'm using about not even 200 gig of the 2 terabytes. So we got some time. It's
yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm thinking about things of putting in there, but I can't even think of anything else to put in there now that I have it.
Yeah, exactly. Then you feel like, oh wow, I got lots of space. I could start dumping and not. I mean, it's nice to have the protection. If you think about space too, I'm seriously thinking about it. I may just go all out on the 12 Pro Max and just go to 512 instead of 256. It's not a huge difference in price.
I thought about that too.
As far as monthly payment goes. So,
but my photo, like right now, I'm on 256, and I have all my photos.
Oh, I'm not using it. I mean,
right.
I'll stick with it. But.
Yeah, I thought about it too, but I mean, I still have about 50 gigs free on my 256 gig, and I have all my photos, the originals on there. It's not optimized, so, and all my music is downloaded. So, I mean, it's basically not using. I'm not pulling anything down from the cloud, and still not using the full 256. So,
nor am I. Are you there?
Yeah. Yep. Next.
Oh, thought I lost you. Yes, I'm with you on that. So, and then there's the Fitness Plus. Do you think you're going to use that when it comes out?
Right now, I don't, but I might see it being used and say that might be good. So, I mean, it's not a terrible thing for me to move more in my life.
Yeah, me either.
So I'll take the opportunity. I mean, I'm curious to see what they do with it. And I have the Apple TV, so if we have and a big TV in our living room, so
you can do a lot of the exercising, and a lot of it's I think some of it is live, is it not? They do some live sessions.
I heard it was all pre-recorded, but.
It's pre-recorded,
sure.
but some good sessions. I'm looking forward to see what it offers and to see how it does. So, even if you get the Premier plan, it's still worth it, because even if you add them up, and you'll eventually get Fitness Plus as it is. Again, my advice is to look through it, decide what's most important to you, and where it fits into your plan. Between the 3 plans. I mean, the family plan is a sweet spot if you don't need News Plus. I mean, I like News Plus. I think it's nice to have. I was paying for it for a little while, and then I stopped for a while because I was like, I get news everywhere else. What do I need this for? But Apple does a very good job, and they've got a lot of great staff that does curating of the news on there, as well as all the newspapers, magazines you have access to. So I think it's got some value to it. But as I say, you buyer beware. You got to really think about where you're gonna go with it, as far as that goes. And as I said, and really you got to decide how is it going to fit your budget. And another thing I'll mention too is Apple Music. I had a year. I always was getting the yearly subscription, so I'd pay $99 for the year, for 1 year from Apple Music, and then I would renew every year. So I went ahead and went to the bundle, and right away I went to Twitter and I sent out a message to Apple support, and of course they say, "Good question, we don't know." Oh, and then a couple other guys are on there that said the same thing, and sure enough, the next morning, like around 2 a.m., guy said, "Hey, I got credit in my App Store," so that they did credit me back the difference in the cost of what I paid. So I still had about $67 left, nice. of my subscription. Nice. So now I can put that towards a couple months worth of a month of the Premiere cost. So
they're pretty good with that too. And just as a side note, real fast, if you sell a device with Apple's Care on it, and you don't want it, if you want to. If the new person doesn't want it, you get a refund for the unused balance of the Apple Care. So they're good like that.
Yep, I did that.
Yep, I've done that too.
Yeah, I think I either sold one or it was damaged. I can't remember what happened, but
right.
Yeah, it's just why bother? I mean, they don't care. Why should I care? I'll get my money back on it. So I was protected. Yeah. You don't want to be protected? Your choice.
Exactly.
Believe me, I've got links to both the 9 to 5 Mac article as well as so how much is it really going to save you? Just believe me, there's been plenty of debate about this, and you just, like I said, you got to decide what's most important to you. None of us have been paying for Apple TV Plus. It's $5 a month. It's not going to be a terrible cost. Arcade is also $5 a month. Is it $5? I believe it's $5 a month.
Yeah, it's $4.99.
$4.99. Both are $4.99. Apple TV Plus, that's not bad. $4.99. I mean, think about it. I mean, it's not that really the bulk of the cost is because they're paying for licensing is News Plus and music.
Yep.
That's really where it's costing them the most, but they're giving you quite the bang for your buck when it comes to that. So believe me, lots more people will be talking about it, and we'll talk about it here as well. But take a look at it, take advantage of it. I think you'll be happy with what you pick with that. So, all right, let's change gears here. And as I mentioned previously, I was gonna talk a little bit about the iPad Air versus the iPad Pro. Linked in the show notes to an article on Mac Rumors that they did a video in comparison to this, and really all it comes down to is just the design, the display, and authentication, biometric authentication, which I think the Air is pretty nifty with that new Touch ID authentication. I'm hoping that they evolve that in the future. The camera, the Air has a regular camera, doesn't have one with a LiDAR scanner, which I don't think is important, but you and I don't have that either because we have the iPad Air 2018 model. And then really the processor, the 12Z versus the A14. Will you notice? And then pricing. That's really going to come down to really the biggest thing you got to decide. So what was your thoughts on this? I know we talked about it a little bit here earlier, but
yeah, like I said before,
you would jump into an Air. You would go with an Air.
So we both have the 11-inch Pro. Obviously, if you want a larger iPad to 12.9, you have to go Pro. So, but if you're looking at 11 inches, if somebody swapped out my 2018 11-inch Pro with the new Air, I don't think I would care that much, to be honest with you. There's nothing in there that I would miss. I probably would be happier with the faster processor and not care about some of the other things. The Face ID doesn't bother me. The Touch ID thing is cool. So it's it's basically a 2018 11-inch Pro is what it is. So if I was shopping for an iPad, I would definitely suggest that. With the caveat of Apple will be doing something with the Pro line. They're not going to give up the Pro line. So an iPad Pro might be something that, if you could wait, you may want to wait a little bit to see if there's anything coming out there. I haven't heard any rumors about an iPad, about the Pro, about a new Pro.
Me either.
And off the top of my head, I can't think of anything that could be added to it. Right? Like, I mean,
we're working on new processors again, but that's not going to be for at least another year.
Yeah. So like, other than faster, design change doesn't seem to be, I mean, I couldn't even fathom what that would be right now. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing I could even think they could do to the current line that would be good. Of course there's something that they're working on that we don't know about that we're going to say, oh, that's what you did with it. So that's going to happen. So, but yeah, the Air is a solid deal, and the color is cool, and the fact that it works for all the Pro accessories is great.
Yeah, it's got a USB-C port now, because compared to what the other iPads had, the Lightning still, not the Pro, and the pricing, you can't beat it. I mean, it starts at $599, although it's kind of a bummer that the storage is only 64 gigs for that. I mean, come on, Apple, you could afford to bump up the storage a little bit here on the Air, because the Pros, that's the only thing too, is the Pros do go up to 1 terabyte if you really have to have an insane amount of space, and that's not cheap. That one's over $1,300 for that one. So
right, but 64 is kind of that is kind of tight. So
it is tight. Because they're still selling. I mean, I believe they're still selling. I think they bumped all the iPads to 64 gigs now. So at least on the bottom end.
Yeah,
it
was originally
the 8th gen. Yeah, because I mean, I was looking at some iPad Airs yesterday at one of the family members, and I'm like, oh my god, this only has 16 gigs. Remember that?
Yeah.
I mean,
they had phones.
It's really.
I think
I know the phones were bad too. Yeah.
Does the new SE2 come in 16, or is that is
32 minutes? SE. No, I think it's 64.
The SE, the one that just came out, the SE2.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it?
I think.
Yeah, probably.
No, you're not gonna have to.
Now we gotta check.
Have to Google it and find out. And remember, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was.
Chris says.
Yeah, I don't think they would do that.
I think they are. I think they still have a 16 gig stuff out there. So
16 for a iPhone? No, not the.
Not a new one. Not the mini, but the SE. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm looking. Nope, 64 is the starting. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. They redeemed themselves.
64 and 128 or 256. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. There you go. 64 is tough, but if you're using cloud services, it's not too bad.
It isn't, and I think in most cases you don't have to worry too much with speeds, with space. So, but in closing, in the bottom line is, of course, the Apple Pencil support. You've got the Apple Pencil 2, which is available now for this Air. Works great, and it's a great deal. I think anybody who doesn't jump into this that's in the market for a new iPad, be crazy to even consider the Pro, unless you need something that's beyond that. I mean, that's really where it comes down to the bottom line there. And of course, the Pro has the Face ID versus the Touch ID, and I think the Touch ID is a nifty new technology they've added. So I'd be surprised in the future that they consider moving that, for that. But who knows? We don't know what happens when Apple does sometimes.
Yep. They're definitely working on Touch ID under the glass, but that hasn't happened yet.
Right, for the glass, right.
Yeah.
That's still, we still got some time there for that. So, all right, let's talk about, let's have run through a couple tips I found here this week. One of them I found was, and I completely forgot this existed, because it's always a pain whenever you go into the App Store and then you go in and you have to you go into the App Store, then you got to tap your name at the top, and then you got to then you get to the updates. Well, there is a quick way to do this now. If you tap and hold the App Store icon, and of course when you do that, it brings up the touch menu, and you've got other options here like search and redeem, purchased items. It'll show you what purchased items you've got, and you can then it brings you over, of course, the edit home screen, or if you want to remove the app. Of course, you wouldn't want to remove the app for the App Store. But it also adds updates. So now it's a one single step process. If you single tap that icon, go to updates, and it brings you right to the menu. So then you can scroll through and look what items need to be updated. Now, I've got it set so it does updates automatically, and eventually they get done. But there might be times you want to force and get them to be pushed with that. So, any comments?
I've never successfully got it to automatically update. I've always had to scroll down to refresh it.
Yeah,
and people have said I'm wrong on that, but I can't think of any times that it automatically updated an app like it's supposed to. I've always had to pull down and do the update.
Yep. So then next tip, we have a option. How do you listen to audiobooks on your Apple Watch? You can listen to music as well as audiobooks on your Apple Watch, and if you've bought the books with the audiobook app on your iPhone, you can listen to those books on your Apple Watch. And basically what you have to do is you go through and on the Apple Watch, you tap the audiobooks app, and then you go into library, and then you select the book you want to stream. Your watch will stream the audio over your Wi-Fi or your cellular device. And my Apple Watch is only synced to the Wi-Fi. So, and then of course you have to make sure that you go into the Apple Watch app to make sure that read now and want to read, and you can add audiobooks right from there. If you don't want to use cellular data. Then you give you the option to be able to listen to it. Now, the way you're going to listen to it is if you want to listen to it from your watch, you have to probably, in most cases, have your AirPods or a device like that to be able to listen to it. Otherwise, it's just going to transfer the audio over to your iPhone to listen to it there. But sometimes you want to have your watch. You don't want to have to carry it around. You don't want to carry around your iPhone for the time and be able to listen to an audiobook. Well, you got that option. Any comments on that?
Nope. That's very cool.
Yeah. Other tip here. This changing the tips on your AirPods Pro. I really like the options that we have with the tips. You have the ones that come with the AirPods Pro, and it can be kind of tricky sometimes to get them in there and to actually pull them off of the AirPods and actually snap them in place. The ones that come with it are very generally pretty easy to do that. And then what you do is you pick the size that's going to fit best for you. You can interchange between the three sizes. You can also then once that's done, you can go to the ear tip fit test, and it'll actually scan the AirPods Pro in your ears to make sure that you're getting the most optimal sound to do that. So, and giving you the correct seal. Now there are also some third-party ear tips out there as well. I've got one, and there's been a couple others that are out there that are used. Check those out if there's something that if you're really having some details. I might next time I'll give a list of some of the ones that I'm familiar with and ones I've been using. We can get that information to you as well. Do you have any trouble with your ear tips on your AirPods?
No, I did buy some memory foam ones on Amazon that I use, and they're pretty comfortable too. Sorry about that. I do find that after I wear the AirPods Pro for a good amount of time, my ears start to hurt no matter what I do. But I think that's normal for some people. But sometimes it is hard to get the tips back in, and but they pull out pretty easy.
Yeah. And then next tip, this is how to restart your iPhone. That's always a question people always have. How to force restart. In this case, we have an article here in the show notes that talks about the SE, the 2020 model, and how do you actually do it. And this is pretty standard across most of the newer iPhones these days. To force restart the phone, you push the volume up and then the volume down quickly, and then you hold in the side button. And then, of course, the power button will come up, and you just keep holding it until you see the phone reboot, and then you see the Apple logo. And that's really all there is to it. I mean, most of the more recent iPhones that's the way to do it. Even with the 12 and the 12 Pro, I'm pretty sure that that's going to be the case as well. So it's always a good tip to remember having to do that whenever you have to, do a hard force reset on the phone. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Nope. It is the same with the 12. I could confirm that.
Yeah. Actually, I have an article. That's right. I forgot to put it in here. This was actually an article that was in Mac Rumors, how to hard reset or force reset. And they talk about the same thing with the button basics, volume up, volume down, and how to do that on all the phones. I mean, the Pro, the Mini, the Max, they're all, they haven't changed it. So
it's not very easy. If it doesn't work the first time, try again. It's not the easiest of things on those phones. Sometimes. The ones with the home button were a lot easier. But the ones without a home button it's a little bit of a Nintendo cheat codes kind of thing going on there.
Yeah, it's right. And then one of the last tips I have before we go on to an app I had for this week. This is a tip on how you can actually use the iPhone 12 Pro to measure a person's height. And because of the new LiDAR scanner that's on the 12 Pro, and I can't wait to see it on the Pro Max, this does give you the ability to actually measure somebody's height by using the stock Measure app. So basically what you do is you actually pull up the Measure app, you point it up against the person. It's probably easier that they're up against a wall, and it actually measures their height. And you position it in such a way that it goes from head to toe, and there you go. You got someone's height. So another way to get use out of that Measure tool, because I've used that before for like measuring like rooms and things like that. Do you use the Measure tool much?
No, but that seals the deal. I'm getting that 2020 iPad Pro just for that, so I can measure so I can measure people.
How tall they are?
Exactly. Right? That will justify the extra $300 on the iPod.
Oh my gosh! All right, and then. We're going to close up here with an app that caught my eye this week. This is actually an app that was still in beta, but it's come out now. It's made the app name is ClipDrop. It's an AR copy and paste tool, and basically what it does is it allows you to clip objects, people's drawings, or text, and then you can drop it automatically to your computer screen. And the way you do that is you just take the picture of the object. It copies it, and then you have an app that's installed on your Mac. And once the app is on, it'll see that your Mac's on the same network. You point your iPhone to the Mac, and automatically will insert it into like things like Adobe Photoshop or any other app that you want to insert it in automatically. And the great thing about it is it's an object that takes the background away, so it just has the actual object in itself, and that's it. Pretty nifty app. I was impressed. And something like that, how important that is to people, really all to be dependent. It's got a lot of great reviews. I've got a link to the app itself as well as their website. One of the downfalls going to be though is the price. It's $39.99 and it's a subscription, so it's a yearly fee. So you really have to think how important is this going to be? But it is pretty incredibly accurate. I've tried it a couple times here just to kind of see how it does it, and it really takes the background out of it. They're showing pictures of a tree or a bicyclist or a cat or any object really, and a lot easier than having a Photoshop, but that's for sure. So I really would have to understand how you want to use it. Graphic artists probably would use this a lot, but you can integrate it really easily with Keynote. You also can use it with Photoshop as well as Sketch. It's a very popular app for doing graphics and such. So, and they do give unlimited cloud storage when you have a single subscription. And right now it's actually on a sale, so they are going to be charging $80 for it. So right now it's $39.99. I think that expires November 20th. Did you have a chance to look at this? Or
no, but I will. It sounds cool. Sort of like handoff on steroids for pitch. It's handoff for pictures, is what it is. So
yeah. So it's just I was kind of impressed with this. But like I said, you have to really decide how cost effective that can be for you. Is it something that you're going to be doing a lot? Then it might be. Unfortunately, in this day and age, everything's in the subscription model these days, so you kind of have to deal with it. So,
but if it's something that you could use for work, would be worth it.
Absolutely. So, all right. Well, that's all we got for this week. I think we covered quite a bit. And unless you had anything else to add?
No, not unless it's the 6th of November yet. It's not right.
Yeah, our next show will be just before it happens. So we'll be itching to get our orders in the next day.
And then the week after, I'll be itching to receive our order. And then maybe in 2 weeks we could talk about our phones. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'll be doing lots of talking, especially with the camera. I can't wait. I really can't wait.
Yeah, me too.
So. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap things up here. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. You can subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where you can click any of the links, and all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter @DaveG65. And Warren, we find you on Mac to the Future. Anything exciting out there as of late?
Normal things. People asking about the new products. People, trying to sell their old products. It's fun. Yeah. I don't know if you saw the post today, but we won't go into it. But somebody was excited they were going to sell something over to ship it to Russia, and we convinced them that wasn't a good idea. So that's
don't do it.
Don't ship anything to Russia.
Keep sales to your own countries. I think is always the best rule of thumb. I don't care where it is.
Exactly.
I've had plenty of experiences shipping, trying to sell things in the past to other countries.
In fact, when I put in description, I say shipping to U.S. only because it's a scam otherwise. But come join us if you want to get in on that fun.
we do have fun. So. Well, appreciate you being here, Warren. Thanks for coming on the Sunday. We had a lot of fun here, and appreciate for you guys listening. We really do. And we'll be back next week, and we'll talk to you again soon.